Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The App. It's our KTBS political podcast. Has nothing to do with computers. The app stands for Architects, People, and Politics. And we have another special guest today. This is Stacy Melerine from the Bessie Board, District 4, correct?
Correct. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I know we've been kind of trying to work the schedules out so we could have you on here for a little while, and we finally made it today. And you have an interesting tale. Tell us about your family life and all of that stuff.
Sure. So I'm married to State Representative Michael Melerine. We're both practicing attorneys, and we have 3 small children. Our son entered kindergarten this year in public school, so we're getting used to that. We have 2 little girls in preschool.
But prior to becoming a state representative, he held the Bessie Board seat you currently occupy.
That's right. He held the position for 2 years following Tony Nations. He did a great job on it, and I'm happy to get to follow him up.
Well, tell us what goes on. I mean, we all hear about Bessie. Bessie's in control. Bessie does this. Bessie does that. What does Bessie do? What all falls under the purview?
Certainly. So we do a lot of administrative tasks that are not very interesting to talk about or very fun to talk about. So one of the things we do is we send the minimum foundation funding formula for students over to the legislature for their approval. So we work on that process. We also work on policies and procedures for our state and local schools. Some things we don't do. We don't set curriculum. I know that's a confusing point for most people.
Okay.
We don't do personnel issues for schools. That's another one we stay out of. But we're really an oversight board for the Department of Education.
Okay. So you guys control the money, right?
We do, well, so we approve contracts that LDOE sends over. Anything over $50,000 we take a look at, review, and approve. A lot of the funding still rolls through the legislature, so it's a complicated process, but we do set the vision and the policy and goals for Department of Ed.
Okay. So tell me about some of the problems that you see from sitting on the Bessie Board with what goes on. I mean, the schools are moving great in Louisiana right now. Things are really on the uptick. We just had the visit with the Secretary of Education, McMahon, a few weeks ago, and Cade Brumley's doing a fantastic job. And so when you sit on the Bessie Board and you see all these good things happening, how do you help facilitate that?
Yeah, so I mean, what an honor for the Secretary of Education to kick off her United States tour in Louisiana and look at us as a blueprint for things that are going on. So what we'll do is we will work with LDOE to put forth policies in place that empower teachers to teach, parents to have some rights, and then the outcome. So what drives the educational outcome? So one of the things that we put in was high dosage tutoring. That's what's been driving that uptick in student scores.
Explain what that means.
Sure. So 3 times a year, students in kindergarten through 3rd grade take a screening exam called DIBELS. It's a love-hate relationship with it. It's a quick test that is really a benchmark for our students on whether or not they're reading on grade level.
Okay.
If they're not performing at grade level, we push in some high-dosage tutoring services. And what that does is it has a small group element where the kids that are behind grade level or right at the baseline get tutoring support while they're in school sitting in the classroom from a qualified tutor, teacher, that way. And that really helps them catch up to their peers. And then in the 3rd grade, if they're still not reading on grade level, they have the option to be retained back and stay in the 3rd grade again to get back up to the reading standard.
Okay, so 2nd and 3rd grade is where that all really comes into play.
Yeah, well, even starts, my son did his DIBELS first in kindergarten.
Wow.
So we're pushing in it early and often because reading's fundamental. So we're really getting back to the basics.
Listen, I remember my grandfather and grandmother were all teachers and had principals, and my mom was a substitute teacher. She never got into that full time. But I know before I even got to kindergarten, I could read. I mean, my mom taught me to read when I was, 3, 4 years old, something like that.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, especially when kindergarten readiness is a huge issue in our state. So we have a lot of poverty, and with that comes a lot of students who may not be necessarily prepared. It's something we don't like to talk about, but science that typically more affluent kids in a 2-parent household perform better academically. But we are able to now come back in and push in those supports that, for the kids that may not come to kindergarten on grade level.
Okay.
And when they catch them up early, they're better and happier and more willing to come to school and succeed in the long run.
This sounds silly. It's kind of a dumb question, I think, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are they added with the way the grades are going up and everything? Are the kids are they happier to be in school?
I mean,
is that a dumb question?
No, it's not a dumb question at all. With when you have a child that's on grade level and they're not behind their peers, they're not going to be as anxious about going to school. They're not going to be made to feel like a failure.
Yeah.
It's going to be more fun for them to go and learn and be ready. So it makes sense to me that a fourth grader who's on grade level and can read and can actually complete the assignments without stress would be much happier to go to school.
Sure, yeah. So how do your kids take everything with schools? Do they like school?
They're kids, so some days.
Right, yeah.
My son was shocked by going to kindergarten because it's work now.
Oh, no.
And not playtime.
Yeah.
But they do love it. They have great teachers. We're
Well,
really
and
lucky.
they have you at home, so.
Well, thank you.
Well, listen, and I wasn't gonna bring this up this soon, but I'm going to because I did a story on it. I'm sure you may have seen it. I don't know, but these Eden Gardens folks. They were a group of students from, it's now Caddo Middle Magnet, right?
Yes.
And they were about to graduate from, it was then Eden Gardens High School in 1970, and the Supreme Court issued a desegregation order, and they got moved to the Captain Shreve.
That's right.
And they didn't get their diplomas, and they felt ostracized and out of place at Captain Shreve. And anyway, I guess they made many requests and attempts, and finally, 55 years later, just the other day, they were able to get their diplomas from Eden Gardens High School with the help of you and Cade Brumley and I think Congressman Fields' office or some of his folks. And just tell us about that whole thing.
Sure. So I got an email from Miss Lindora Baker about, I thought it was longer, but it was only 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
She sent me an email, I gave her a call, and I said, well, what can I help you with? And she tells me the story about the class in transition. So it was that group of kids in 1970 that were moved 60 days before graduation to a new school they'd never been before. They missed out on their prom. They were not allowed to play sports. They didn't even get a yearbook. So she said, what can we do? Can we get them diplomas? I said, I don't know why we can't. So I got with Cade Brumley, and he helped me get to work on it with the help of Dr. Singleton at LDOE. She put it together, and 3 weeks later, we reissued diplomas for quite a few students who are now graduates of Eden Garden High School.
And they did the whole thing, right? They had a ceremony, they had the caps and the gowns, the whole thing.
No, that's a true miracle of the thing. I don't know how they got that commencement ceremony organized so quickly, and it was so nice of an event. They worked really hard on it.
And I know that, oh my mind, I'm sorry, the lady that's on the school board now.
Oh yes, Mary Trammell.
Thank you, I'm sorry, I blanked. She said, you might be asking me, Jeff, what am I going to do with this diploma? And she goes, I'm going to look at it, and then I'm going to tell everybody how proud I am to have it. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I've never met a group of people that are more appreciative of something. I think it meant a lot to them. I'm glad we got to fix that for them, even if it took 55 years.
Yeah, well, good job. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
That's a neat story. It's kind of a feel-good story, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was something I was really happy to do, and it was really touching as we were leaving, the folks that came up and talked to us about what it meant to them and their families. One lady stopped me. Her brother had passed away, so she collected the diploma on behalf of her deceased brother. And then she said, I'm on the way to go talk to my dad. He's 92. He's in the nursing home. I'm going to go show him this.
Oh, yeah.
So it's, when you think about schools, it's a community.
Yeah.
And so, you go to back to school night, you spend a lot of time with your children there. So it is about family and about identity. So
Absolutely. Well, I'm married to a teacher.
Okay.
Not a Louisiana teacher. I know, I have this weird life where I work in Louisiana, but my home is actually in Atlanta, Georgia. But she's a teacher, and in fact, I think she wants to retire in about a year. But one of the things when I talk to her about is, let me teach. She's like inundated, buried with superfluous paperwork that has nothing to do with educating the students. I know you guys are working and with Cade Brumley trying to eliminate some of that, right?
yeah, it's part of our BRAVE plan. So the V in the BRAVE stands for Valuing Educators. And we have the Let Teachers Teach program in that regard. So what it is, we meet with a cohort of teachers, and they tell us the things that are impeding their ability to do their job effectively and make it enjoyable for them. No one wants teachers to be miserable. We want them to go to work and love their job, and we want people to come into that profession willingly. One of the things we hear, it's really not teacher pay, which surprises me. That's what I thought going into this. I'd hear, pay us fairly. What we heard a lot of was the trainings, and so that was a small one we were able to relieve the pressure on. So a lot of these trainings were year after year having to go do bloodborne pathogen training every year.
Yeah.
So we ran a bill through the legislature to get that changed down, and so now Bessie has the discretion to do it. And now we're on a one and done. We think our teachers are smart people and they're capable of holding on to that knowledge. They complete it one time and then they're done.
Well, that's good, right?
Right, absolutely.
But I know she's like, she has some students, my wife I'm talking about, that have special needs. And the way she describes it to me, I don't know how it is in Louisiana, but the process is so, it takes half the year to do the paperwork to have these kids screened properly and get them to where they get the proper help. Is it that way in Louisiana?
It's definitely a challenge in Louisiana. We've had some downsizing at LDO over the past 20 years. So the special needs workforce at the department has shrunk along with it. So that brings a challenge. We do have the Special Education Advisory Panel that we work closely with to help us tailor on Bessie our education policies. And that's made up of special education educators and parents in the classroom, so they can identify pain points for us and we can address those for them in the classroom. One of the things that we've done with the help of the legislature recently is to put cameras in those special ed classrooms so parents can feel a little bit more secure about having a vulnerable student in that classroom that can't necessarily report if something is going on.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Other things that students, you mentioned, sorry, I'm blanking again, man. I'm getting old.
It's okay.
I forgot. I had it'll come back to me in a minute. But talk to me more about how the Bessie board operates. How many members are on the Bessie board? Is it 8?
Yes. So there's 5 elected and 3 appointed members.
Okay.
3 are appointed by the governor. We have Judy Armstrong, who's working in the non-public school council from that side by the governor. We have Conrad Appel, he's a former Senate president, who's coming in. And we have Simone Hennessy. They're all great appointees, and the rest are elected across the state.
How often do you guys meet?
We meet 7 times a year, and then a little bit more often we will all be at conferences. So next Monday we'll be holding a truancy summit that we'll be attending together as a board.
Do you think, does the Bessie board get too much flack or too much credit for the things that you do? Or is it perceived that you guys are involved in more day-to-day stuff than you actually are?
I think there's a misconception, like I was saying earlier, that we get involved with personnel and curriculum matters. Those are things that we leave up to school districts. We want them to have autonomy and flexibility in what they do.
Okay. I'm sorry, I remembered what I was going to ask you. Because it's been a very big deal in Louisiana for years now, and that is the money. You talked about the money, and that wasn't that big a deal for the teachers, but it has been a big deal over the last few years, and the teachers should be paid more.
Absolutely, they should be paid more. So we really applaud the effort. So this is one of the other pain points for us. Teachers are not state employees, so they're traditionally paid by the local districts that they're done. So we do factor that into, and I apologize, this is a really niche answer, into our minimum foundation program. So into the funding program, it is set for, so the districts that are doing the right things, like adjusting their tax basis and those things, they get a higher percentage of an MFP dollar to incentivize them to pay their teachers more.
And so I know it seems like every year it's like, well, $2,000 for teachers, $1,000 for support personnel. And then lately we've been hearing like the local districts adding on to that, giving more bonuses and or raises. This seems like a process that may never get to a finish.
I think I would love to see the teacher. I think the stipend became permanent in the state legislature this year. If not, I might be mistaken.
Well, they were trying to do that. And I'm not quite sure it did.
No, I don't know. And I apologize for not knowing that bill got through. But that is a bill that Bessie supported legislatively. So we would go to the table and support that bill.
So how do we get the teachers, I guess, up to the average?
Yeah, I would love to see the teachers at the Southern Regional average. I think we need to work with our district leaders and to do some things creatively. Some of the districts that are smaller and rural and declining in population have been entering into MOUs with neighboring districts so they can work together to combine. So if they have a physics teacher in one parish, that teacher can work in both parishes so they can pay them a bit more.
Okay.
The other thing that we have passed that's going really well is differentiated pay for teachers.
Okay, explain that.
So it's basic supply and demand. It used to be that all teachers were paid the same no matter what. So any high school teacher was going to have the same rate of pay as any other high school teacher within the school. The based on years of service, of course. The differentiated pay model allows schools to pay teachers that are in high demand areas a little bit more to incentivize teachers to come to that. So if you have a science teacher and the science teacher is necessary in your district, you're allowed to pay that teacher a bit more.
Okay.
And there's funding from the state to help the school districts do that.
How do the teachers view that? Are they okay with that?
They are okay with that. There was not significant pushback from the teachers. It's been really successful in closing the teacher vacancies within our state too.
That's nice.
Yeah, so we've closed it down to I think less than 1,000 teacher vacancies now.
What was it when it was at its peak? Yeah, do you recall?
I don't know. At its peak, I don't know. It was 2,500 is the most recent number I had about 2.5 years ago.
Wow. So you've made up 1,500.
Yep.
Wow. That's hard, isn't it?
It is hard, but that goes back to the valuing educators and what we're trying to do with Let Teachers Teach, reducing trainings, reducing the barriers of entry into the teaching profession.
Do you find that the teachers, like my wife always wanted to be a teacher. Her mom and dad were teachers and coaches, et cetera, et cetera. She just knew she wanted to go into that. Do you find that to be the case with most teachers today, or is that, I mean, did they, again, a dumb question, is that just something they fall back on if they can't find something else? Or, you know what I'm saying?
No,
that didn't sound right. But.
No. I know what you mean though. No, I think it's a calling for a lot of people. I think they have a calling. They go and a lot of them major in elementary education or, the field that they want to go into. And then they get the job and they do it beautifully for a number of years until they retire. So I do think it's a calling. My sister is a kindergarten teacher and I could not think of her doing any other job.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I couldn't think of my wife doing anything else either. She's done it for so long. So how do you get folks wanting to stay home in Louisiana and be teachers in Louisiana? Because we know about the out-migration in the state, and there's the pay disparity, I guess, in Louisiana versus other states. What makes them want to stay home and work in Louisiana?
No, that is, we have some grow your own programs that school districts are implementing where they send teachers to college and they come back for a number of years. It's almost like being in the military, they pay a little bit of the education, those teachers come back and work for a certain number of years.
All right.
So that's one way we've seen. But we're really trying to give them a quality of life that they wouldn't have in other states.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. That does exist here. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So what other big problems do people bring to the Bessie board? What's the hardest kind of a project that you've had to work on?
Oh wow. The legislative session is always the hardest part for me. So going through and talking to legislators about what's good, what's bad, what's going to hurt our education system. Mm-hmm. Revising the accountability system has been a struggle for us, but I think it'll bear fruit in the coming years.
Okay. When you say revising the accountability, explain what you mean.
Yeah, so the accountability system refers to how schools get their school performance scores, which is those letter grades that you see in a school. So if they say this is an A-rated school, that's it. And there's normally a number associated with it that talks about how the school is performing on just a wide variety of metrics.
Okay.
And we have significantly shaken that up coming forward to re-incentivize schools to focus on certain items that the Department of Education and Bessie believes that would be to drive student outcomes and success.
Okay.
We're reimagining the high school experience. So I would ask, if you see schools decline in their accountability scores, especially in high school, be patient with them. They're really working on a new set of standards. So you might see a dip initially. That doesn't mean they're performing any less. It means the metrics have changed and they're going to catch up and start incentivizing different things.
Okay. Teachers generally go along with these things?
Yeah, teachers do. Teachers are great about it. We have met with superintendents. We have a superintendent's advisory council that comes in and advises us on how the changes will affect them. So we listen to what those professionals are saying, and we take that into account.
And now we talked a little bit about Superintendent Brumley, but this is a great time to work in Louisiana education, right, with him heading the way.
Oh my gosh, he is great. He is a great leader for our state. He's been working hard. He has a great team behind him too, so I'm really encouraged with the innovation that we see out of the Department of Education so often.
Why did you decide you wanted to be on the Bessie board?
Yeah, so I watched my husband work on this for a number of years, and he was working through the accountability issues, and a lot of it just needed somebody with common sense that could take a step back and look at the issues and listen and evaluate.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we mentioned or not, you are an attorney, right?
I am.
That background has to help in working on some of these projects.
Yeah, so a lot of it is listening to information, analyzing a lot of data, listening to what experts are telling, making their recommendations, and then going from there. So, yeah, being an attorney certainly helps you distill a lot of information.
I mean, I can't imagine all the stuff that comes across your desk as a member of the Bessie board. That'd probably drive me crazy.
I mean, we get all kinds of requests, but they're well-meaning. So, you always get a parent that's unhappy in a school situation, with it being a special ed child, with a bus route, whatever, but I am here to help. So if it's not something that I can help them with directly, I can't change
Yeah.
the bus route, but
Yeah.
I can put them in touch with a district leader who can help them.
Well, mentioning the parents, and that's something that the last couple of years was a big deal. Parents in one state, I think they were called domestic terrorists, and just I mean that's crazy stuff. And people would go to school board meetings and speak out where they were labeled and all that kind of stuff. Did any of that kind of stuff go on in Louisiana?
No. Luckily, we value parents and the role that they play in their kids' education,
Yeah.
at least since I've been on the board. You've heard Cade say it before. I'll say it again. The parent's the single most important voice
Yeah.
in their child's education, second only to the teacher. I mean, and then the teacher is second to the parent. So, without parental support at home, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah, I remember being drugged to PTA meetings when I was a little kid with my parents. I didn't even know what was going on, but they went.
Right.
I mean that made it important.
It's important. And your parents were educators, so they modeled, good habits for you and accountability and getting your work done.
Yeah, they did. I didn't like it at the time.
No, but it served you well.
But I did it. Look, I was reading like some pretty big books by the time I went to kindergarten, which I just thought was normal.
Right.
And when I got there, nobody else could read. And I remember the teacher would set me over in the desk and say to these other kids, if you can't figure this word out, or you go see Jeff. And I went, okay. I just thought that was a normal kind of a thing.
Right. Well, you must be very bright and good at reading.
So the Bessie board meets, 7 times a year? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 7 times a year.
And so your plate's got to be pretty full on each one of those 7 meetings, right?
Yeah, the meetings range from 2 to 3 days at a time.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so we have all of our committee meetings. We meet as committees of the whole, so we hash everything out typically on a Tuesday and then have a vote on Wednesday.
Okay. And you say have a vote. Are you voting on things to implement in the system, or voting on things to take to the legislature, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, so we will vote on bulletins. So the things that we pass will become law through the administrative code. So we'll be passing those policies and procedures at our meeting.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So, well, you've got a connection with the legislature, obviously.
I do. He moved off of the education committee, though. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Well, that's too bad. But you still have that inroad there. Do you take some of the things home, or how does that, is that strictly taboo? You guys keep everything separate?
We should make it strictly taboo. I think that would be better for everyone. But
Yeah.
no, we talk about it all the time.
You do.
It's important to both of us.
Well, he had obviously the background too, so
Yeah.
he can help you wade through some of this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I'll see a bill coming up for the education committee when he was sitting on it, and I'd call him and I'd be like, oh my gosh, you have to go talk to this person, you have to go talk to that person, ask this question, ask that question. Mm-hmm. He'll do the same to me.
He does the same, huh? Okay. So the Bessie and the legislature really have to work kind of hand in hand to get all of the proper programming in place for the kids, right?
We do. So we have, like I talked about, the MFP program.
Yeah.
We draft it, we send it over to the legislature, they vote it up or down. Or they can send it back to us for revision. So that's one way we work together. And then we'll ask them to codify things for us sometimes that need to be put into law.
Mm-hmm. MFP, that's the money you spend per child, right? Or
Right. That is the per pupil allotment.
per pupil allotment. Okay. Yeah. I don't, some education stuff, some of this is beyond me these days. So I have to get people like you to break it down for me.
Well, it's okay. When I started, I made a cheat sheet of acronyms.
Did you?
Oh, absolutely.
You cheated on the Bessie board.
I
Come
did,
on.
yes.
Yeah, and you're admitting it right here.
I know. I still might refer to it sometimes.
So we got a new school year that's just getting underway. What challenges does that bring to folks that sit on the Bessie board?
This year we're excited to see where we can push it. We've climbed up 16 spots last year. We
Yeah.
want to keep pushing this year. We have Monday as another, I would say, an opportunity. We're looking to address truancy. So we're evaluating, how best we can help solve the truancy issue in the state. We're working with FINs, juvenile court leaders.
Interesting.
Put your hands on that.
What do you think is the biggest contributing factor to truancy?
We have a lot of parents and kids that are in hard places.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. When you're not financially secure, when you're not housing secure, getting to school by 7:25 a.m.
Yeah.
It's not easy
Yeah.
for parents. Especially if you have a single mom who's up late working, she comes home. It is hard to get them to their school on time. So we have some challenges of that nature, just societal issues. but it's really how we can come in and push in supports to those families to get their kids there to school on time.
Yeah, that's where it kind of that's where I guess creating the atmosphere that gets kids excited about going to school, that makes them want to go, right? Motivates them.
Absolutely. And how can we support families? How can they get systems within their own household to get their student to school?
Okay. What else should we know about Bessie? I mean, I plead ignorance. I know you exist, and I know that some of the things that we talked about you're involved in, but I certainly don't know everything that goes on with the Bessie board. I wouldn't pretend to say that I do, but I know you guys play an important role.
Yeah, it's a very broad educational role. So, we do everything from meeting with teachers to try to recruit them to come and teach French and Spanish in our public schools to coming up with how we're going to use AI in our classrooms in the future. So that's one we're working on now.
That's a challenge, I think.
It is. So it's definitely a balancing act.
I don't know how I feel about AI yet.
Neither do I.
I think I'm thinking I don't like it.
We've talked about this quite a bit. So this is something Dr. Brumley and I talk about a lot is the value of a classical education. You have a lot of schools moving back to the classical, back to the basics. And that's really what has driven us up to number 16 in reading. Mm-hmm. We're about to bring in the same back to the basics approach to math, going back to numeracy.
That's good.
But at the same time, we're in a changing world and a changing economy. So how do we use AI as a tool to help our kids get there? One of the ways we've been doing that, when I was talking about the small group tutoring, there are some AI tutors for schools that may not have the resources to have a live tutor.
Interesting.
That allow the students to interact virtually with the tutor. So there are some things like that that have applications within the schools.
Well, they all know how to use computers, right?
Oh my goodness. My son was never allowed a tablet, but he could pick one up at school and just use it the other day.
That's amazing. So just in theory, some kids could be in a classroom and punch a few buttons and this AI tutor appears and takes them through a lesson, huh?
Right, and it's called Amira. It's one of the programs that they've been using. It's showing some gains with the students in the classrooms that have been using that program. It's able to track, where each student is on an individual basis, which is it's interesting tech.
Yeah,
but
it scares me, I'll be honest.
It scares me too. But there's nothing that's going to replace a teacher in a classroom that's able to have a connection with the student and understand what what they're learning and where their deficiencies are.
Yeah, I agree with that. We're about out of time. It went fast, didn't it?
It did get really fast.
Listen, thanks for being here. Stacy Melerine, Bessie Board District 8. 4. I said it at the beginning. I'm telling you, I am getting old. Bessie Board District 4. Stacy Melerine, wife of State Representative Michael Melerine, and also a former Bessie Board member, so they know what they're talking about. So if they have problems, anybody watching this, they can contact you?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for watching this episode of The App. It's available on all your major podcast platforms and all the KTBS digital platforms as well. Architects, People, and Politics. Thanks for being here. Have a good one, everybody.